Hello buddies, welcome back to Mouse Recaps, with me, Alex, still in the house. In this episode I'll bring a plot from a film called Miss Granny. Be aware of spoiler. Be careful and watch out. This film tells the story of an elderly woman, Na Moon-hee, regains her youthful appearance, changes her name and embarks on a quest for happiness. Miss Granny is a drama, comedy and fantasy genre film from South Korea. Films directed by Hwang Dong-hyuk. Without wasting time, let's get straight into the storyline of the Miss Granny movie. Take a nice seat, use your AirPods, bring your snack, and enjoy the show. Oh Mal-soon is an old widow who lives with her son Hyun-chul, who teaches at a university, her daughter-in-law Ae-ja, her grandson Ji-ha, who plays in a band, and her granddaughter Hana. Mal-soon had a hard life. She lost her husband when she was young and had to raise her son on her own while working to pay for them. But now, she is stubborn, has no shame, and is very controlling. She is always telling other people what to do and getting into fights. This is making Ae-ja, who is depressed and takes medicine, feel a lot of stress. At least Mal-soon is not always at home. She also works at a cafe with her friend from childhood, Mr. Park. Mal-soon thinks Ok-ja is a vixen, and she often comes to this cafe. The two of them are always fighting, and today is no different. Ok-ja talks badly about Mal-soon and tries to flirt with Mr. Park, so Mal-soon jumps on her to teach her a lesson in a more physical way. Mr. Park tries to pull them apart but gets hurt in the process. When he gets home, his daughter Na-young scolds him for always standing up for Mal-soon even though she always hurts him. Mal-soon walks up at that moment with her purple umbrella and scolds Na-young for talking that way to her own father. When Na-young asks her to apologize for hurting her father, she refuses. Mal-soon gives Mr. Park a bag of peaches before she leaves, and Mr. Park follows her outside to offer her a ride on his bike. Mal-soon is a close friend of Na-young's father. She doesn't understand how she doesn't know he's allergic to peaches. At the same time, music producer Sung-woo is upset with today's auditions at a local TV studio. All the new bands look and sound the same because they focus too much on how they look and not enough on how they sing. Soo-yeon, one of his assistants, says that young people can't really sing, so maybe they should hire an old ghost singer and let the kids lip sync. The next day, while Mal-soon scolds Ae-ja for cooking wrong, Ji-ha tries to sneak out to go to an audition, but both of them catch him. Ae-ja tells him off and tells him that his future is in school, but Mal-soon stops her and gives Ji-ha some money so he can go out and follow his dreams. After he leaves, Ae-ja tries to tell Mal-soon that she should let her raise her own kids, but Mal-soon doesn't listen. She doesn't like that Ae-ja is stressed when her husband makes a good salary and she stays at home doing chores. She thinks things are easy now compared to when she was raising Hyun-chul by herself. In the meantime, Ji-ha's audition doesn't go well. The musicians are good, but the lead singer can't sing well because she spent all night clubbing and never quit smoking. When Ji-ha tells her that she's not taking this seriously enough, she just decides to leave the band. Mal-soon goes grocery shopping in the afternoon and comes home in the evening to find Ae-ja lying on the floor. She is taken to the hospital right away, where she has surgery. After that, her doctor tells Hyun-chul that his wife needs to rest in a calm place. When they get back home, he talks to Hana and Ji-ha about sending Mal-soon to a retirement home with them. Hana likes the idea, but Ji-ha doesn't. Mal-soon hears them talking about her, and even though she's upset, she decides to accept her fate for the sake of Ae-ja. Hyun-chul tells her that when Ae-ja feels better, he'll bring her back to the house. Mal-soon may have agreed to this plan, but her mood is still bad because of it. She isn't her usual feisty self at the cafe, and things get worse when an angry woman comes up to her. The woman's family lost their restaurant because they helped Mal-soon when she was a single mother trying to make ends meet many years ago. They gave her a place to stay and food to eat. In return, she stole their secret soup recipe and opened her own restaurant in the same town. Mal-soon tries to leave the cafe because she doesn't want to deal with this problem, but the woman has been looking for her for years and won't just let her go. She attacks Mal-soon by jumping on her, but Mal-soon doesn't fight back, so Mr. Park has to pull them apart. Malsoon tells the woman that she did what she had to do to give her son a good life while he holds her. Malsoon is crying while she waits for the bus in the evening. Jiha calls her and asks if she could take him and his band out to dinner. They agree to meet at the station, but Malsoon can't help but stop by a photo studio with a picture of Audrey Hepburn in its window on the way there. She decides to go inside and get a nice picture taken for her future altar. The photographer promises to make her look 50 years younger.
하나, 둘, 셋.
She gets on the bus when she's done, where three young men try to pick her up. Malsoon doesn't understand what's going on until she looks in the mirror and sees that she's back in her 20-year-old body. After going to the pharmacy to ask for sleeping pills, Malsoon remembers that she was supposed to meet her grandson, but she doesn't dare approach them with this new face. Malsoon doesn't answer Ji-phone house calls, so she goes back to the photo studio and doesn't find it there. The building is now a restaurant, and the owner says she's had it for 10 years and has never heard of a photo studio in the area. Malsoon doesn't come home that night, which worries her family and Mr. Park, but the police tell them it's too soon to file a report. She spends the night in a community center, and when she wakes up, she notices that her body doesn't hurt like it usually does in the morning. Seeing all the other old ladies makes her determined to never be like them again. She decides to enjoy her newfound youth, so she goes shopping for new clothes and gets a haircut like Audrey Hepburn. She pays for everything with money she gets from the ATM with her debit card. After that, she goes to Mr. Park's house and asks to rent the room they're offering. She says her name is O'Dury, which is a wrong way to say Audrey. After getting settled, she goes to her family's house and leaves a note at the door to let them know she's okay. The next day, she hangs out at Mr. Park's cafe, which is full of old people and makes her feel out of place. After OK Ja's average performance, Malsoon decides to sing next at the karaoke. She turns out to be a great singer who puts all of her feelings into her voice. Her act is seen by Jiha, who came by to see if Mr. Park had heard from his grandmother, and by Sungwoo and Soo-yeon, who were in the area looking for new talent and came into the cafe when they heard Malsoon's voice. The crowd gives her a standing ovation when the song is over, but Malsoon leaves because she is afraid Jiha will recognize her. Jiha and Sungwoo both want to hire her, but they can't find her anywhere. Later that night, when Jiha goes to Mr. Park's house, he runs when he sees Malsoon there. He uses this as an opportunity to invite her out for a drink. Jiha asks Malsoon if he wants her to be the new singer in his band. Malsoon agrees because it hurts her to see her grandson so sad. The next day, Malsoon meets Jiha's band, whose metal music and looks scare her. She thinks it's just a bunch of noise and that they should be singing a happier song. The guys don't really like the idea, but when Malsoon winks at them and blows them a kiss, they change their minds. People love them so much when they play in the park that their tip jar is full of money. A few days later, they get a gig at a bar where the musicians stop wearing metal clothes and start dressing as cute as Malsoon, and they also do well there. One night, Sungwoo sees Malsoon arguing with a mother on the train. When she gets off, he follows her through the streets, but he isn't sneaky enough and Malsoon sees him right away and thinks he is a stalker. After telling him off, she tries to leave, but Sungwoo grabs her by the shoulder to stop her because he still wants to talk. This causes her blouse to fall, which makes Malsoon cry and yell. She then goes to the police to say that Sungwoo tried to touch her in an inappropriate way. Sungwoo is taken away by the police, and as soon as they are far enough away, Malsoon stops acting and looks happy. The next day, Malsoon takes her purple umbrella and goes to her family's house for lunch because Jiha invited her. Aija looks healthier and greets her with perfect manners, but Hana is very rude to her, which Jiha says is because of their grandmother. This makes Malsoon feel a little bad. She asks for a tour of the house while she waits for lunch to be ready. Jiha agrees to show her his grandmother's room. She acts curious at first, but when Aija calls Jiha to help her with the dishes, Malsoon uses the chance to look through her dresser for her stamp, which she needs because her family has blocked her debit card. Hyunchul and Mr. Park are at the police station watching security camera footage that shows someone using Maldebit Soon's card to get money from an ATM. The person's face can't be seen because they're hiding behind a purple umbrella. This makes them think that Malsoon has been taken, and even though Mr. Park doesn't say anything, he knows the umbrella. Back at home, Hyunchul comes home while his family is having lunch. Out of habit, Malsoon greets him, making everyone look at her like she's a weirdo. Malsoon hides her mistake by running to the bathroom. From there, she watches the family and sees that Hyunchul won't eat because of how he feels right now. The next day, Mr. Park closely watches Malsoon to make sure that the umbrella he saw on the security cameras is the same one she was using. After she leaves for the day, he goes into her room and looks through her things. He finds Malsoon's old dentures and shoes. Until Malsoon and her band show up, Sungwoo keeps turning people down at auditions. He doesn't waste any time and makes them an offer, and of course they take the opportunities. When Malsoon gets home, the bag with her dentures is already hanging from the clothesline. Mr. Park sneaks up behind her and tries to knock her out, but Malsoon quickly beats him and ties him up instead. Even so, he calls her out, tells her that he thinks she killed Malsoon, and asks her to kill him too because he can't live without her. When he was 13, his parents died, and Malsoon's family took him in. Malsoon's smile always helped him keep going. Malsoon feels sorry for him, smiles at him, and asks him why he doesn't know who she is. Mr. Park finally realizes that the woman in front of him is Malsoon after looking at her for a moment. The next day, they go to the cafe and spend some time together. Malsoon tells him that her band will be at a concert soon, which means she can finally be a famous singer like she's always wanted to be. When Mr. Park tells a bad joke, Malsoon makes him eat some of the shaved ice she's been eating. Okja sees this from a different table and thinks Mr. Park is dating a much younger woman. After that, Malsoon asks him for a favor so that her family won't worry about her anymore. So, Mr. Park invites Hyunchul and Aija to his house and tells them that he's seeing Malsoon and that she's fine. Mr. Park tells her that she's finally living the life she's always wanted and that she needs her debit card to work again. Meantime, Okja tells Nayoung that her father is dating a woman who is too young for him and that she is probably after his property. At first, Nayoung doesn't want to believe Okja, but when she gets home and sees her dad working out to feel young again, she starts to think Okja might be right. The next morning, Mr. Park picks Malsoon up from the bus stop and gives her a flower while trying to look cool. Teenagers nearby laugh at how silly he looks, and Malsoon also makes fun of him for it, but she still agrees to go with him. Soon after, they get to the TV studio where the band will make its first appearance on TV. Malsoon sings from the heart about her husband, how she fell in love with him and then lost him, and how hard it was for her to raise her son on her own. By the end of the song, she's crying, but everyone has loved every minute of it. After a few days, Mr. Park, Sungwoo, and Soohyun take the band to a water park. When they get into the special pool, a big wave makes Malsoon and Mr. Park slip and almost drowned. Mr. Park passes out somewhere on the shore, and Sungwoo saves Malsoon and takes her to a nearby table so she can rest. He tries to get to know her better, but Malsoon dodges the question by saying that she'll tell Sungwoo more about herself later as she finds Sungwoo likes her. Sungwoo stops their light conversation when he sees that Malsoon's foot is hurt. Malsoon gets a little worried when she sees that the area around the cut that is bleeding is getting wrinkled. She rushes out of the park, saying she's going to the hospital. Later, at home, Mr. Park does a test. He pokes her foot with a pin, and the area around the wound also gets wrinkled. At that moment, Nayoung walks in and finds them in what she thinks is a bad spot. She can't take it any longer, so she grabs Malsoon and throws her out into the backyard, telling her to leave. Mr. Park stands up for Malsoon, but he ends up fighting with his daughter, which makes her cry. Malsoon decides to leave so she doesn't make any more trouble. Mr. Park wants to go after her, but Nayoung grabs him and won't let go. The next day, Mr. Park goes to see Hyunchul and tells him the truth because he is worried about not hearing from Malsoon. Hyunchul doesn't believe him, though. He thinks he has dementia or depression and tries to call a doctor. Mr. Park gives up and goes home, where he stays in his room all day long and feels sad about losing Malsoon. When it comes to Malsoon, she stays at Sungwoo's apartment after getting a call from him. They have dinner together and talk for a long time. Sungwoo keeps trying to flirt with Malsoon, but she can't give in to a man so much younger than her, so she keeps pouring alcohol into his glass until he passes out. Back at her parents' house, Aija is taking antidepressants again, and she can't stop thinking about Malsoon scolding her for it. The next day, the band records their first single, but another producer makes Sungwoo realize that this kind of slow song doesn't fit the band's image, so he has to find them a composer. Jiha, who wrote that song in the first place, is upset by this, so he runs out of the building. Malsoon tries to stop him, telling him that Sungwoo only wants what's best for the band. Jiha thinks she slept with Sungwoo because he heard she spent the night at his place. He does this because he is jealous of her. Malsoon starts hitting him for it, but then she takes him out to lunch to tell him off properly. Malsoon meets Mr. Park at the park some time after that. He's worried because he hasn't heard from her in a while, and he thinks she's moved on and likes someone else. Even though he's jealous, he doesn't say anything because he wants Malsoon to be happy. Malsoon gives him another bag of peaches and tells him to take good care of Okja. Mr. Park has to tell Malsoon that Okja passed out last week because of a brain hemorrhage and is now in the hospital. Hyunchul checks on Jiha later at night. Jiha is writing a new song for the band. Before he leaves, he can't help but notice a picture of the band. He tells his son that the song is very good and wishes him luck. He then looks for old pictures of himself as a baby and is shocked by how much the woman in the band looks like his own mother. A few days later, Malsoon and Sungwoo go on a date to the park. When Sungwoo tells Malsoon how he feels, she tells him she can't accept it because of their age difference. Sungwoo thinks that she is saying that he is too old for her. When they're done, he takes her to the hospital, gives her a hair clip, and kisses her on the head before leaving. Malsoon walks into the building because he wants to see Okja. It's too late. She's already dead. She is so upset by this news that she leaves before she realizes that Mr. Park is still there. The day of the big show has finally come, and Jiha is running late because he is stuck in traffic. Since the cab wasn't going anywhere soon, he got out and grabbed a public bike, which he rode around like a crazy person. Jiha is hit by a truck and taken to the hospital because of how careless she has been. When the band hears the news, Sungwoo wants to cancel their show, but Malsoon won't let him. She thinks the best thing to do is let everyone hear Jisung Ha's and sing it so loudly that it will make him feel better. The band agrees to play, and people like the song, which makes it a big hit. Malsoon runs to the hospital as soon as they're done and gets there just in time. G blood house type is AB, which no one else in her family has except her. So, she offers to give a blood transfusion. Mr. Park is worried about this, so he drags her outside to have a private talk with her. He tells her that this will make her old again and that she won't be able to live her dream. Still, her grandson's life is more important, so she goes back to the main hallway to find the doctors. Instead, she runs into Hyunchul, who has been listening to them talk. He tells her that he knows who she is and asks her to leave because she has already given up her dreams for him, so it wouldn't be fair for her to do it again for her grandson. Again, she says that it's fine to be old as long as she can be with her family. They cry and hug each other before Malsoon is taken to the operating room and hooked up to Jiha so that Jiha's blood can flow into her body as she slowly changes back into her old body. After a year, the band is still doing well, with Jiha in good health and Hana as the new singer. Malsoon and their parents go to all of their concerts to cheer them on, and Aija and Malsoon are now getting along better. Malsoon sees Sungwoo from far away after the concert is over, but she decides not to talk to him. As she walks away, Sungwoo is surprised to see the hairpin he gave to Malsoon in the hair of an old woman. In the meantime, Mr. Park finds the photo studio, which this time has a picture of James Dean in the window. After having his picture taken, he goes to the bus stop to pick up Malsoon. When he takes off his helmet, he shows his new, handsome young face. Teenagers who made fun of him before now respect him, but all he can think about is Malsoon, who gets on his bike and Malsoon scolds him for not telling her that he was allergic to peaches.